Shalom. Shalom, guys. Welcome to the. Why are you looking at me like that?
I can't smile. Why are you laughing?
I was just saying why he was looking at me like I thought I had
I
some
can't look at you.
booger in my nose or something. Or, hey. Yes, shalom, family. Welcome, guys. Welcome. It's all good vibes here. It's all laughs and abundance of peace and just loving life, just love. So,
Mhm.
welcome, guys. Welcome. We are journeying with us. Um, and yeah, we're gonna be talking about some education stuff today
Yep.
because education is key, and this is what we believe and what we stand on firm, and what we've been doing with our children since what 2018.
2018, we
We've
did the
been
calculations,
yeah, we've been homeschooling
My
our
PTR.
children because we believe that our teaching is better than the system that America teach our children. So yeah, if you believe, make sure you like the video, comment, leave your comments, share the video, and yeah, we're just gonna get right into it.
Yeah, because I was looking at this video today from an engineer investor, and she did
Greetings,
a video
shalom, welcome, Bantu Lisa, Karibu
about
Sana.
how homeschooling is her best option as an engineer. She's talking about how, as an engineer, her function is to break things down and to question everything. And so she started questioning the homeschool system. And it brought me back to 2018 when we were still in Ohio in 2018, right after my dad passed away, right as we're learning about biblical knowledge, the truth, we're learning about our history. We're starting to look into moving and traveling to Africa and just
Mm-hmm.
really living outside of the walls of the Western system, aside from things that you have to deal with, which is obviously like taxes. And that's literally just about it. Like taxes, obviously, you deal with taxes and you function properly in that way. But aside from that, you have the freedom to control your life, to homeschool your children, to do all these things. And we started that process in Ohio. I remember taking our oldest son, this was when you were at work, taking our oldest son, man, you remember those days just work
Yeah,
nonstop. America, you don't get no time to be with your family. Forget it.
really.
They're like, you're going to be in this system 40 to 60 hours a week at minimum. And that was in 2018. You can just imagine how folks are living in 2024 in this system, in that system.
I know,
But
crazy, non-stop work.
yeah, I remember taking our son to daycare. Actually, it wasn't daycare, it was kindergarten. He did 1 year of kindergarten in a public school. And, just my analytical brain, us talking, it's like we were like, this doesn't make any sense because either way you put it, it's the same thing with moving to Africa. It's the same type of mindset of whether you put your children in a good suburban area, white school, or a black neighborhood, or a private school, or a Christian community, the whole society is sick. The whole society, the whole school system is sick. Your children have to face racism if they're on the suburban side. They may get a fantastic education and be able to articulate themselves great,
But
but
they
now they
lose their
just had to
self.
go through all of that
Mm,
trauma and not having, like you said, they will lose their own identity or not have a proper identity. And so they'll just be
mm-hmm.
going through it on the black side or the hood side or the charter school side. It's you see people that look like you in America, but y'all and I, we got a good understanding. Them kids in them schools, they are beyond wild. And so you can be a good parent, have your children, but the moment it's like the scripture says, a little leaven leavens the whole lump.
Mm-hmm.
Children are so impressionable that if you put them around children whose parents are not properly caring for them and they're with ideals that don't properly care for them as humans, they're going to soak that up and regurgitate that with a backward system, which is what we see happening in America today. And so that's like the spiritual reason behind homeschooling.
Yeah, I say waking up to the truth really, or waking up to the understanding of who we are and knowing the truth and really trying to seek the truth, um, and try to get out that system. Try to really follow the ancient path. That really pushed us to be like, okay, we can't. Why would I trust this school system to put all this? knowledge they say in our children's head when we can teach the same thing,
But better.
yeah, but better.
Yeah.
And it's going to help them with, real life. It's not just like subjects that they got to take to pass a grade
Yep.
and get 60% or 60% and get an A still. So it's like yeah, homeschool is the best way to go,
Hmm.
especially now with these schools. I know in 2018, it wasn't as crazy now with the LGB
Right.
TQ stuff
Right.
with the because I remember we was still in the states and they really started to do that. I think no in
Slowly they
2019
started.
2020 days like having people come to the library after school and have like a book club
Yeah.
of like clowns dressing up to
Ooh.
read to your children, and
Oh gosh.
that's everybody at the after school program. I remember the after school program.
Mm.
You had to stay for maybe like an hour and a half or something. 4:35. You leave, but they really start bringing clowns in there to talk to the after school program students.
About clown stuff.
Yeah, about clown stuff, about crazy evil stuff.
Pedophilia type stuff. Yeah. I
So
mean, oh man, I forgot about that. That's a reason alone. So you look at it from the spiritual lens and from having, if you care about your children.
yeah.
Because the honest truth is, when you look at society today, a lot of humans don't care about their children in the West. That's just, you can just see it in the society. Because when you're in a society where people care about their children, you see adults who grow up and care about society, right? So
Mm,
you have a country with high literacy rates. That's the country we're in right now, high literacy rates, low crime rates. The country's clean. The country keeps their word with bureaucracy, does what they say they're going to do. These are things where children are not taken for granted. And that was actually another one of the reasons we left Tanzania 7, 8 months ago. In Tanzania, it's illegal to homeschool. And so
mm,
it was kind of like that. While it was good for a season to allow them to learn Swahili and to meet other children, from a broad standpoint, because we always talk about our 5 year to 10 year plan, like what we really want to instill in our children. And a society where homeschool is illegal is just not a benefit to our family and
yeah,
to what the Most High has for us on our journey. Because we
exactly.
were given a very specific decree to homeschool,
Mm-hmm.
a specific command that we have kept in obedience. And you have to look at your children, as Proverbs and Psalm says, children are an inheritance from Yahuwah. Now with your
Mm-hmm.
inheritance, you don't go, send your inheritance off and say, all right, I'll see y'all my inheritance later. With your inheritance, you treasure it. You're like, oh, this is my inheritance right
Yeah,
here.
it's
I have
like
to be diligent with this.
just say like when our oldest will go to school in the states, I think you have to drop them off and then I will pick them up. So it's
Some
like
days, yeah.
literally that all the
Yeah.
way through the week. So you'll drop them off. Okay, your dad's gonna come pick you up, and then he'll just see you for a little bit. Then about
Mm,
time you get done with work, he's already
right,
asleep.
right.
So it's like it's
Wow.
literally like that, and
Wow.
just to keep away from your family, the
Wow.
the um the tribe really.
Oh,
So it's just better to raise your tribe amongst like under your wing. Like
wow.
it's literally like your flock, your sheep, like because we are shepherds
Yeah.
for the Most High sheep. So
Yeah.
it's like we have to be diligent and understand like, hey, this is the best option
Mm,
because pretty soon in 10, 20 years,
mm.
if we make it that far, but they gonna have to understand this world. They gonna have to
So,
understand the
yeah.
world.
From
And
Yah's
yeah,
standpoint,
from
not
y'all's
from a
standpoint,
worldly standpoint.
both,
Yeah.
because it's gonna get crazy and they gotta understand how to move around. And then no
Mm.
school's gonna teach you how to move around
No, they're gonna
in
teach
real
you.
life. Yeah.
They're really gonna teach you just like, and I'll try to link the video down in the description. It was such a phenomenal video by an engineer. It was fantastic. I'll try to link it below because y'all need to see it too. But she went into the history because I look into homes or look into the traditional schooling system and some of the issues with it. Y'all know I like to do a lot of research, but she brought out a piece of research that I was not aware of. She said that the school system was made during the time of the factories, the
Right.
industrial
Yeah.
civilization. And so back at that time, factory workers, you had the lines, you who have worked in factories and warehouses,
Hmm.
follow orders, do what I say, repetition, do
Yep.
this, do what I tell you to do. Don't question what I told you to do. Don't think I didn't pay you to think too smart, to do any critical thinking. Don't try to change what we already got. We just want you to come in, do what we say, and that's it. And that's how school in America is structured. And she was saying, as an engineer, she was like, realizing, oh, I'm not going to do that. Why would I have my children learn that if I want them to be investors, entrepreneurs, and free thinkers when they're older? So
Hmm.
if you want your child to be an entrepreneur, if you want them to be a free thinker, if you want them to have alternative ways of living outside of the horrible, crappy box Western society has given people, then you have to change the schooling. That's a non negotiable. Like, literally, why we teach our almost 13-year-old son, we teach him marketing, strategic communications. He is literally in the business, running things in the business on a part time basis because this is more important than trigonometry 35.7. All that stuff don't matter. You get in the real world. When's the last time y'all used trigonometry? Unless you are a trigonometry specialist.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess it's depends on the field that you go into. So I was thinking about because recently, I had to relearn how to do algebra because he's starting to learn algebra. So it's like, dang
Mm-hmm.
man, I still have to self educate myself with this stuff to even help him grow and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, man, I don't use this stuff. I don't
Right.
use no algebra.
I mean, even accountants don't, because I look at our clients, I look at what they do, and it's like even finance, accounting,
Hmm.
tax relief, people who deal with numbers, people who do deal with small business numbers, they're not using trigonometry and algebra 2 most of the time. They're not using calculus. They'll
Yeah.
use like basic foundational statistics. That's fine. I think that's something that's great to teach children.
Yeah.
Foundational statistics, foundational algebra. But when you get into the ninth to 12th grade, now I also was blessed with the ability to choose during 10th to 12th grade to not go that traditional last 2 year route. I went to a career focused school where I wasn't just learning foolishness, for lack of better term. I would dedicate half of the day to healthcare practices, learning well. This is as a high school student,
Hmm.
okay? I would
Trades.
dedicate
Yeah.
half the day to learning medical technology, stuff that's actually going to be helpful years to come. Even though I'm not in healthcare and nursing anymore, I still leverage that knowledge from a career center. But these were things I had to get at a specialized career center that was an hour away from my house. To be
Hmm.
quite honest, it was an hour away from my house. I'd have to wake up super early. I'd get home pretty late. And that's the school system. But imagine if you are a child like our children whose parents are paying attention to education, paying attention to what's going on in the world, paying attention to biblical narratives and critical thinking, and you can extract and pull the things you want them to learn from business, finances, wellness, healthcare, first aid, right? You can pull the things you want them to learn in a condensed curriculum, teach it to them, pull in some other curriculums from other Black creators. That's why we love supporting Black entrepreneurs.
Hmm.
Pull in content from other creators, and you have this curriculum that your children already have. And so now they're able, like I was telling Jeremiah a little bit earlier today during homeschool, get used to finding answers before you just read something. Like, if you have a packet of information, if you have a project you have to do, find the answer first. Critical thinking, let me figure out what answers I need so that while I'm reading, while I'm analyzing to see what the answer is, I'm already going to have this red flag. Oh, I'm looking for these answers instead of
Hmm.
just reading in vain or doing things in vain. And I think about also the mindset of people that move to Africa and stay here long term, and the mindset of people that come to Africa and don't make it. And literally the same mindset. It goes back to the schooling,
Yeah.
because we are a people, a robotic people, if I may, a robotic
That's what I was about
people
to. Yeah.
that have been taught, go to this warehouse. I'm gonna give you what your daily meal is for today. I'm gonna tell you what to do in the warehouse. I'm gonna tell you that don't do too much critical thinking. Stay in your lane. Be happy that I put you on this 9 to 5, not paying you minimum wage. Don't think too far up. You're not advanced enough for that. Just stay where you are. And so this is the mindset that you literally have to battle with. We defeated this back in America, right?
Hmm.
So from our perspective in 2018, us already defeating that mindset and knowing that's not how we wanted our children to be raised, knowing that we were going to go in a business together and partner to actually create a business and then create now multiple businesses that rely on our creativity, our genius, our excellence, our diligence. It's a totally different mindset from someone that just is kind of new to alternative thinking and is new to even thinking outside the box. You may be struggling with the ability to think outside the box and have critical thinking without complaints because you're so used to getting spoon fed these solutions from, you know, whatever corporate entity that spoon feeds you the solutions.
Yeah, that's what it is. Like I know you were saying, the people that stay here long term and like in Africa and the people that leave, I think it's like a growth thing. You always got to be willing to learn. You always got to be willing to educate yourself,
Mm,
even if nobody's teaching you anything, you still have to educate yourself. That's very important.
yeah.
So, that I know homeschool that really helps us. That helps the teachers, the adults, to be like, man, I have to continue to learn. I have to continue to, you know, get this down so they won't so they will learn this. Because if you don't know what you're talking about, you're just gonna be confused too. So
Right.
you gotta be um with one mind of educating yourself and growing, and that's it. Really go back to the Bible. Really, it's a biblical law, you should say. Like, you should really, especially coming from America and everything that we've been through, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, all of it. You have to grow from that. You got to like break out of that shell, and that's just really educating
Mm,
yourself. So once you wake up to this truth and understand, like, man, this stuff is wicked. Now I have to relearn.
mm,
Like
right.
that's what it is. You really have to relearn
Right.
and educate yourself. So, homeschool is very important for the people that's doing it now, to just keep growing in this truth, just to keep growing for the next generation, because the next generation,
Yeah.
this world's gonna look so different. This world's
Mm,
just gonna look so different. So if you can
yeah.
educate them on, like just like this video now, content. Content is
Yeah.
key. Content is really money now.
It
Is
is.
it content is currency. So you really have
It's an
to
asset.
understand that exactly this is a digital asset. You should say, or you can say, because um the people that's watching this, and how many ever views it gets, you get what I'm saying? It's a set that in the future, if one person watch it every day, you know or two people watch it every day, it's going to keep adding up. So this is a digital asset that you have to start thinking about. So if you have like an Instagram, Facebook, or whatever, that you post on, you got to think about, hey, this is an asset that might can help me with the revenue that is coming. So yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Because the things that children learn in school, and I think the pandemic opened a lot of parents' eyes. There was one more video. When we go back to edit this video, I'll try to drop the link to another video. A black homeschooler. She's an ex teacher. She started her YouTube channel homeschooling. It's such a beautiful channel. I'm gonna look at some more of the videos because she had some hacks for different grade levels. But she was also saying that she put her children in private school. She worked in private school, and she was talking about how even in private school, children face the same issues, but now you're just paying for it. I'm like, oh,
Mm.
that is a struggle. So you as a parent in America, maybe you want to put them in a Christian private school. What was those private schools by where we lived in Columbus,
Oh,
Ohio?
Saint Catholic, Saint Charles and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Saint
Saint
Saint Charles. What?
Bishop
Bishop
Hartley.
Hartley.
Yeah.
There we go. Bishop Hartley, Columbus, Ohio. My goodness. But yeah, you have all these, religious institutions, these Catholic schools, these private schools, but you're
Mhm.
facing the same issues, if
Yeah.
not exacerbated more. because you think you're getting a better education, but the reality is when a teacher has to deal with 30 students at a time, if you're blessed and lucky, maybe 15. But they're dealing with all these students at a time. That cuts out the notion of deep work. Deep Work is a book by Cal Newton, a phenomenal author. Deep work is literally when your child or you as an adult, children and adults, when you sit there, you do one thing, you focus on it. You're not looking at your phone. You're not looking at the child next to you. You're not looking at the adult next to you. You're not looking at so and so down the road. You're focusing on one thing for 1 hour, and you're smarter just in that 60-minute time frame. That's a compound effect. It's like compound interest for children. Like their brains get compound interest. So you can have compound interest on your loans where you're accumulating all this debt, but on the reverse side, there's compound interest in your child's brain and in your brain when you do deep work, 60 minutes every day of these different subjects. Then you wonder how children become so smart. Like when we look at our firstborn Jeremiah, it's like, wow, we started homeschooling him at 5,
Hmm.
5 years old. And now we're seeing the fruits of it at 13. Now, he was in Tanzania for about 2 years in school, off and on. But, the bulk of his education has been homeschool. And when you see the fruits of that and you see the rewards of your labor, you're like, oh, we're definitely continuing this thing. Because I think with our third child, our son, we moved to Tanzania. We put him in school because there was a requirement. It was a legal requirement doing the student visa. But in Tanzania, it was illegal to homeschool. And I just look at how that is such an issue for our children. It was such an issue. Now we know we can't be in a society where homeschooling is illegal because it is of the utmost importance that you don't put yourself back into some kind of oppression, or your children, I should say. Because one oppression system in the West isn't better than another oppression system in Africa. Let's be quite honest. Either way is twisted and it's evil and it's wicked. And so you have to come to the conclusion and say, do I want to be accountable to my children with homeschool? It's a valid question. That's the just something that I came to realize just in the past few days of just looking over the past few years, like, wow, comparing where we are now to where we've been, comparing 2018 to 2024, because you always have to look back and analyze your life, just like in our business. We analyze our clients' data, their marketing initiatives, their operations. We analyze to see what works so we can amplify what works and get rid of what doesn't work. And it's like, oh, that didn't work, let's amplify and reuse this system that we did well in 2018 and amplify it to different children, to our other children, because it's like, okay, this is good that we educated our own children. We're seeing the
Yeah.
rewards of it, respectful children. And it's in the type of way when you homeschool your children, they come out with better outcomes as far as soft and social skills, because they're not inundated by all of these other children all the time, too many voices. For an introverted child, that can be very overwhelming. For a very wise and gifted and talented student, that can also be overwhelming when the child gets to have a little bit more control of their atmosphere to say, hey, I learned better this way, or this is my favorite subject, or coming to us and say, mom, dad, can I do a project on this? Can I do video editing as a project this week?
Oh, they don't call me dad. They call me teacher dad. Okay. They say
You're
good
hilarious.
morning, teacher dad. That's
Okay.
what they say.
Okay.
But yeah, yeah, I was gonna say, it really goes down to, do you really care about your children? Do you care about your lineage and how they're gonna be moving along life after, they're an adult? So it's like, um, that's what it is. Like if you really care about how they really gonna be moving throughout life, you really have to educate them in the way that they should go. You got to train
Mm,
your child up in the way they should go. It's
that's the
very
word.
simple. Like you got to think of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. They was teaching them from since they started to walk,
Yeah.
how to really
Yeah.
sustain themselves and educate themselves. They wasn't. Think of Joseph. He was the best strategist in Egypt. The Pharaoh had to come to Joseph and say, "Hey, you're wow, you can read. Like what? Yes.
You Hebrews can read.
Yeah.
You Hebrews, y'all not smart.
So it's like, man, we just got to get back to the ancient path. If you really care about getting back to the ancient path, this is
Hmm.
a part of it. It's not trying to like just put your kids in school and then they start to pick up different
Mm.
spirits, because it's
Mm.
it's definitely that time where children really could pick up and pick up spirits.
Not
That's
could,
not
they do.
they
You
do,
can
especially
guarantee
like
that.
especially in America.
That's a guarantee.
I can tell you a story of this. I remember in in sixth grade. I think our sixth grade was different from Bexley, but
Yeah.
my sixth grade was middle school,
Okay.
right? So it's sixth, seventh, eighth grade, and I remember going there. This was a Columbus public school, so I remember going there, and you got to think you in sixth grade.
Hmm.
I'm thinking like, dang, I was like younger than Jeremiah going to sixth middle school, right?
Right.
So
Okay.
at the beginning of the year and at the end of the year, the eighth graders would really start a fight with the sixth graders to see how tough they would be.
Oh gosh. Why?
So it's like I remember like, man, this is crazy. Like, dang, we gotta stick together sixth grade. Like we had to really stick together as we didn't know each other or nothing, but we knew that the eighth graders, if we are alone in the hallway, the eighth graders gonna start picking with us and try to pick a fight with us. So we had to stand up. So it's
Dang.
like it's really like
That's
that.
like war.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
These
how it
little
felt.
12-year-olds going to war.
That's how it felt. That's really how it felt.
Wow.
So it's like, man, I'm pretty sure it's
It's
way worse
worse.
now. Like, dang,
Absolutely. That was 20 some years ago.
yeah. And I remember it, it was a big fight that happened, and this one guy he brought brass knuckles. I think he was in sixth grade, sixth or seventh grade. He brought brass knuckles because he knew that this was the day that he had to fight. And it's like, man,
Where did he get brass knuckles?
I know, baby, I don't know.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm trying. Where did
I don't know.
he knew he
But
was
they was
12.
fighting. He got hit or something, turned around, he pulled it out, and then he just hit the eighth grader, bam. And then everybody, oh, it was crazy.
It was
So it's
like a
like,
movie.
yeah, like it's literally like that. So I can't even
Oh my
imagine now. Like,
gosh.
man, I can't even imagine now, especially like bullying and stuff like that,
Oh
and
wow.
like it's even worse now,
Mm.
especially if you and like and you got to think about it. If you're in the truth and you start to understand how these like Nike and Jordan
Mm-hmm.
and Adidas and stuff like that, you don't
Mm-hmm.
want your kids to be rocking that.
Right,
So
right,
just imagine you try to get some simple shoes.
right,
They go to school, they getting picked on because this is not
right.
what they believe.
Now they're mentally unstable because they have all this pressure. Then
Yeah.
they say, why don't the children perform well? Well, it's because they're in a war zone. How about that? The children are in a literal war zone in America.
Yeah, and you got to think about how the Most High said you are set apart.
Mm.
You have to be set apart. So even if you're in that school system, you got to be set apart in a way. Like
Yep.
you can't try to fit in, and the school system makes you fit in. Like
Mm.
you have to fit in.
Right,
They
right.
look, they will pick at you, pick at you, pick at you
Till
until
you
you be like,
break.
man, what, I got to fit in. I got to do something different. I got to do what
Mm.
everybody else is doing, and that's just
Ooh.
part of the world. Like, do you want to be of the world or not?
Wow.
So it's like,
Wow.
man, you really gotta be set apart. You gotta teach your children how to be set apart
Wow.
and really stand firm on what they believe.
That's deep.
Because that's the next
Mm.
generation. The next generation really have to go. They're gonna have to stand firm on what they believe. So these other nations can
Yeah.
see like these people are special. They know what they're talking about. They're educating me. They're teaching me because that's how it's gonna be.
Hmm. But how are they going to know what to teach if they ain't getting taught?
Exactly.
Mm. Ooh, that's deep. You broke that down so excellently because it's that deep. Like it's a literal war zone over there.
Hmm.
The poor children, and But the parents say, well, Billy, he's just a horrible kid. And it's like, no, he's in a situation where he's in a mental war zone.
Mm.
Billy can't focus on grades
And
when he
then,
has to
ooh,
focus on his sanity.
it's just so much, man. Even with the school shootings and stuff.
Mm.
I think right when school opened, it was somewhere. I think it was in Columbus or something. I
Oh
I think it was
gosh, Columbus is ghetto.
Whitehall school shut down because they said somebody had a weapon in the school. So they had to
Treacherous.
shut it down or around the school or something. So parents was like, "Oh, did anybody hear anything about Whitehall schools? They locked the children inside because somebody had a weapon or something." And I'm like, man, anything can happen that quick, like
Mm.
super fast. So it's just best to keep your children right in your pocket. And it's not
Yeah.
because this world is getting crazier and crazier,
Yeah.
and they hide stuff. I think they passed that during COVID too, right?
What?
How they can basically vaccinate your kids without your permission.
Yeah. Yeah.
So look. You cannot put your
Yeah.
children in that situation. You can't be putting yourself in that situation.
Facts. You can't. Right.
Like you just,
Let alone your children.
I can't imagine if I put my kids in school and then they
Ooh.
vaccinate them. Then now you got to go to jail because you beat somebody up, or
Mm.
you hurt somebody because this is not what you believe. Like
Yeah.
it's a lot that could just happen in schools.
Mm.
Like you really have to self educate your children,
Yeah.
and that's just the bottom, like the bottom line. That's the
Yeah.
foundation. What is your foundation? You really got to think about what is your foundation,
Yeah.
like for real.
Yeah. That's so true because, the beautiful thing about being outside of America for these 4 years now, looking back at 2018, being able to look at 2020, being able to look at 2022, we can really look back and see, okay, what was the foundation? Let's sit back and analyze let's have like a checklist of like, hey, are we hitting the marks that we wanted to hit once
Hmm.
we left in 2019? And it's like, okay, we missed some right there. Let's adjust this. And that's something when you're in Africa, the first country you go to doesn't have to be the only country you stay in forever. It just doesn't. There's no rule book, there's no law in the Ten Commandments that says once you go out of Babylon, only stay in one country. That's just not it. This is why we promote a digital nomad lifestyle. This is why we promote a world school alternative living lifestyle, travel, enjoy life, teach your children, see the world. And you don't even have to see the whole world. We just want to see certain countries in Africa. And I know some countries on our
Hmm.
list: Ethiopia, Nigeria, Madagascar, Seychelles, South Africa, Namibia.
Just say everywhere, cause you going.
Well, those are my top five right now.
Yeah, right.
Those are my top
You
five,
about to keep going.
especially Ethiopia, because that Habesha culture is just, it's
Yeah.
just beautiful with that modesty. But yeah, because you can literally raise children that our children, they're not, cussing your daughter out down the road, calling them all kinds of crazy words. You're not going to have to worry about our children shooting your sons. You're not going to worry about our daughters being prostitutes on the sideways and byways and all this stuff, because we take accountability for the inheritance that we've been given. And that is the best offering that we can give our community, by raising children that are mentally stable, so that when they go out and marry your sons and daughters, they're not perpetrating generational curses.
Hmm.
That's community building. There's no community building outside of properly raising your children. But it's like in the scriptures where Yahushua was speaking in the book of Matthew, the Pharisees come and they try to trip up his words, and they're talking about the commands, and they're saying, hey, should you only follow this command and not do this one? And he's like, you actually should have done all of it without leaving the second thing behind. You should have followed the entire moral institution without leaving out compassion and love. But you forsook some of it, and now you're acting like a Pharisee because you think you got one thing right in self-righteousness. And it's the same thing with homeschooling. It's the same thing with moving to Africa. You really have to take a moral account of your life, of the foundation that you're growing or that you're trying to build, and say, okay, am I actually hitting the mark? All of the mark, not 2/3 of the mark, all of the mark. And if you're not hitting the mark, go and rework until you do hit the mark. That's humility, to be able to say, oh, we missed the mark with this. Let's fix that. Let's not do that next time. Next time, let's do it this way. That's humility. That's the type of heart and mindset the Most High needs in these last days. The people that is willing to go back to the drawing board and just ask the Father and say, hey, did I hit the mark with this? Or did I
Hmm.
miss the mark with this? And if I did miss the mark, can you just give me some more wisdom so I can hit the mark next time?
Yeah, you just
Because
got,
he's willing and he's able.
yeah, you just gotta adjust and keep going. Like that's what it is. Like
Mm,
you can't you can't like say if you did something wrong, you can't live in that shame, because shame just brings a lot.
yeah,
You know, it brings uh depression,
yeah.
worry, doubt. It's just gonna be stuck in this just being insane. You know, insane.
Mm,
Just you just gonna be in a circle. Like, man, I did that wrong. Now, oh, you're gonna be like this for the next couple weeks. No, adjust.
mm,
Like, okay, I did that wrong. Okay, you have to be. You have to teach
yeah,
your children how to be problem solvers.
yeah. Facts.
You gotta. They gotta figure out the solution
Yeah.
right there. Okay, what's the problem? Okay, what's the solution now?
Mm.
It's that simple.
Solutions oriented.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
that simple. Cause I talk to a lot of people like here in Africa, and I'd be like, okay, tell me what's okay. That okay. So what about let's think about this. We can do this. We can do that. But they still talking about the problem. I'm like, okay, we know the
Mm.
problem now. What's the solution to this problem? I don't
Yeah.
care how bad it is. I don't care how bad it look. Now let's figure out this solution.
Yeah.
Cause it's always a way to fix something. It's always a way to get to the solution and be good.
Yeah.
So you just gotta adjust and keep going.
Yeah.
Like really, really.
Yeah, you got to be solutions oriented. You have to have critical thinking. And it's so unfortunate that we're in a time now. This is such a dire message because Black America is in a crisis. Okay. It's in a crisis. It is literally at the tipping point of destruction. Destruction's knocking on the door, and Black America's right on the other side of that door, like, okay, come in.
Mm.
And it's like, what are we going to do? We know everybody's not going to do it, but what is the remnant of people going to do to take accountability for their children, for their situations, for their marriage, for their family, for their life, for their spirituality, for their
Hmm.
walk on this earth? Since we are pilgrims in the earth, what are our people, the remnant, going to do?
Yeah, and it's gonna be a remnant, remnant of a remnant. When you think about that, it's not it's not just the adults now. It's gonna be how
Mm,
you raise your children up so they can be that remnant.
mm-hmm.
Because all the children is not gonna be the remnant.
Ooh, Father have mercy.
It's just gonna be less than. It's
Ooh,
gonna be a remnant now who's adults, and then it's gonna dwindle down from their children. It's gonna dwindle down from their children and grandchildren. So a remnant of a remnant of a remnant.
yeah, it really is. It really is because, society has gotten so much worse since 2018, 2019.
Yeah.
When you compare and contrast, if you have the ability to critical think and to analyze and to see patterns, society has gotten so much worse. How do we know? Because we can look and see how Black America is doing. We can see how America is doing. Depopulation, literacy rates are falling. Children are in crisis. I told our son last week, and it was bittersweet because I'm like, Jeremiah, you read better than most children your age.
Mm.
Celebrate. But at the same time, it's like, why are most children his age not able to read anymore? That's heartbreaking.
Mm.
So, on the one side, it's such a blessing to be able to receive understanding and the blessings of the Most High and this, all of the things that he wraps in Deuteronomy 28 1 through 14. But it's also heartbreaking. Two things can be true at once. It's also heartbreaking to look back on the other children in these Western societies and say, wow, you just you hope that they can get out of it. You hope that the parents will take action because you can't pray your way out of everything. That's the reality, because faith without works is dead. Do your prayer, that's great, but put some action equally with that prayer. If you
Mm.
say you want your children to be wise and smart and have understanding, wouldn't that mean you need to take action to make sure they do that? Or would it just be, I'm gonna just keep praying for 29 years and keep, okay, I hope they're smart, I hope they have wise understanding. Are you gonna show them how to get understanding, Are you going to take action in that? Or are you just going to keep saying, okay, I hope they have understanding. I hope they have understanding. I hope they have understanding. I'm going to just keep hoping they have understanding. Why it's like, why do we even have to teach that humanity shouldn't think like this? That's just strange to me. How we have to tell humans in this day and age, hey, if you want to plant a farm, if you want to plant a seed, don't just keep saying, I want to plant a seed, I want to plant a seed, I'm going to plant a seed. Just go out and do it. Just do it. Take the action. The Most High Himself says, behold, you are gods, little g. Behold, you are authorities. You have a inkling of power. You have the ability to have power and authority, but you shall die as men, foolish men that act like you don't have anything in your hands to do anything with. That's not faith, that's foolishness. When you say, okay, if I just keep repeating as a broken record, I want wise children, I want understanding, I want, that's like that's almost like some kind of sci-fi movie, honestly. It really is just sitting there repeating the same thing and not doing anything about it. Okay, if you want a farm, that means you're going to have to acquire land. If you want a business, that means you're going to have to acquire an audience and to go market your services. If you want a marriage, that means you're going to have to go and get married. If you want children, that means you have to do things that procreate to
You gotta
create
be married.
children.
Yeah. If you want to be married, you gotta be prepared to be married. If you want children, you gotta be married. So it's just like it steps to everything,
Yeah,
and you gotta start at the foundation. What is your foundation like, really?
yeah.
Like, what is the foundation? That's what you really gotta think about. And if you really need to just like go back to the foundation, just go back to the foundation.
We do it all the time. We're
Adjust,
not exempt from
adjust,
this.
adjust, and keep going.
Yeah, we love going to the foundation. You know, you love. I just love going to the foundation. I'm gonna just say it. That's why we're
Mm.
always going to the foundation in these videos, talking about 2015, talking about 2016, 2017, 2018, what we were doing, because it
Hmm.
reminds us where our roadmap is, where we're going, so we can analyze, like you said, and then adjust. What you say,
Adjust and keep going. Pivot and
adjust, and
keep
keep
going.
going. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's how life is.
yeah.
Any aspect in life, adjust, keep going, adjust, keep going, adjust, keep going.
Adjust and keep going, and
It's so
adjust to keep
simple.
going.
It's so
Just to
simple.
keep going.
It's the same thing with moving to Africa. Adjust and keep going.
Just keep going.
What's your plan for Africa? What
Mm.
3 countries are you interested in? Once you live there, okay, do you like the country? Does it set in with the notions that you had? Do you want to homeschool? Or do you want to be in a smaller
Hmm.
country? Do you want to be in a bigger country? Do you want to be in a country that has digital nomad visas? Do you want to be in a country that preferences logistics? Because the cool thing about the wealth, because we attended that International Wealth and Investment Summit 2 weeks ago, last
Mm.
week, whatever day. But and one of the speakers, I was also a speaker there, but one of the other speakers, we were listening, and she was talking about how she did logistics in America. So she's handling trucking and logistics in America, but she also found a way to handle trucking and logistics in Nigeria.
Hmm.
And y'all, guess what? With her trucking and logistics company, because this is to baffle all those who are like, Africa does not work. Okay, but it does. So back to the story. She acquired property in Nigeria, does the logistics, and guess where she ships the supply chain?
To America.
To America. This is what we've been telling people. We've been telling y'all, structure your business in America, structure your life that you want to have, start planning it in America so that when you get to Africa, all the chips are falling in line.
Yep.
She didn't do anything brand new. She didn't come here like, okay, well, I got this trucking business. Now I'm about to become, I'm about to own 25 different apartment buildings. She amplified what was already working for her.
Hmm.
She amplified what's already working.
Yeah. And I know I know we talked to someone too. I think somebody was speaking on the chat too. Was she said, yeah, I have a master's in this, but I don't use it because I learned this trade. Learned real estate or something, but I
Mm-hmm.
went to school for this.
Right. Ooh,
So
yeah.
that's what people like.
Schooling.
People that has masters is not using their masters,
Mm.
but does something else. So that should tell you right there is,
The
and
education.
yeah, it's important to educate yourself,
Yeah.
and you can really do anything that you put your mind to, especially through the Most High and Yahushua Hamashiach.
Yeah.
Like really.
Well and able to take the land. Well
Like
and
really,
able.
it's so many master degree holders that's not even going in their field that they went to school with
Y'all
or
have
for,
mercy.
that does something else. And it's
Because
just
it,
about the
oh,
education. It's just about how you can really hold yourself, how you can hold a conversation, how you can communicate,
negotiate,
negotiate.
soft skills.
Exactly. Like it's all of it.
Do you have empathy and understanding, or do you come to people and you're just this bullish buffalo type spirit person?
Yeah. Yeah, I was about to
Mm,
say. Yeah, are you like too aggressive? Like, do you know how to, speak to everyone? And I'm glad that the
mm.
Most High brought me. I was in that public school system, and then I went to a private school system, so I understand how to talk to both kind of sides. I
Yeah,
can talk to any type of nation.
yeah,
I can really,
that's true.
negotiate with any type of nation.
I'm glad you said that because I think when I was younger, I would always think like, dang, why was I raised in a white school? But now that I'm older and I look back, I'm like, a lot of the confidence and skills that I have and that also you have comes from negotiating with other nations, not
Hmm.
being afraid to go into a place. I don't mind if I go to a place and people don't look like me. I don't mind if I have to speak in rooms and I'm the smartest person in the room. I don't mind if I speak in a room and I'm not the smartest person in the room.
Hmm.
Either way, I can maneuver in all those spaces, like you said. You can
Hmm.
deal with people, whether they're in Ghana, Nigeria, Indonesia. It doesn't matter. You can go into any space
Even
because
Chinese
you have
people.
that.
Remember we was here and a Chinese person was on the boat with us.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I forgot
we was
that.
talking to him. Yeah.
If you, he
But we
said
just
you got in the ocean. He said, "Oh wait,
can
can
he
your
swim?
husband swim?" I said, "Yes, he can swim."
Yeah, yeah, bro, I can swim.
Yes, he can swim. He's an excellent swimmer. He taught all of our children and me to swim. So, but you
No,
can't be
no punny
offended with
back
little
here.
stuff like that. If you catch yourself always in a spirit of offense, always catching an attitude, you don't know any self control, you're going to struggle with homeschool. You're going to struggle with marriage. You're going to struggle in Africa. Your life going to be struggle as the testimony. And that's why you have people
Yeah,
out here, every testimony they got is struggle, struggle, lack of accountability versus the people that don't think like that and are very solutions based, very gratitude oriented, very much, hey, I know how to fix this. Or if I don't know, I'm going to say, Father, I don't know. And then the Most High is going to give me the divine strategy.
yeah.
What?
I was just about to
Ooh,
say that. I was
divine
just about to
strategy. Mm,
um say that strategy. I was just thinking about that, and you got to think about in the famine, who was the strategist?
mm. Who was it? Somebody drop a name.
Who was the strategist in the famine,
In the world famine.
in the world famine?
Who was the strategist from the Bible in Genesis?
It was Joseph. So the Most High, his
Here, G.
people, his he don't she don't. You good?
I'm gonna get G.
Okay. But yeah, you got to think about strategy. Like we are strategists as people, as you know, however you want to call it, Hebrew Israelite, as the nation of Israel, right? The Most High blessed us with strategy. So in these last days, we have to understand that strategy is key, and this is our strength, because you got to think about how the scriptures say Judah will lead the other nations, will teach the other nations how to live and how to be really, how to be righteous. So you got to have some type of strategy in you to be that judge and be that leader to really teach the other nations that right now is better than us right now, that knows what they're doing right now with real estate, finance, banking, everything. So you are strategist. Like that should be the number one thing that you think about, especially if you have a business, especially if you're thinking about having a business. You got to learn how to strategize, especially in the last days that we're in now. There's no other way than to strategize. So I encourage you guys to do that, because it's like, man, it's wild. It's like, whoa. You got to think about the story of Joseph, how everybody was coming to Egypt to in the famine, when it was a famine, they was coming to Egypt, to a place where a lot of people don't agree with, but they had to go. Famine. So you really got to think about that. You got to know that. So if you don't know, now you know. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's all, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Let me go through the comments. If you have any questions, let us know. We'll go through it right now. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon to everyone around the world. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Leave your comments here. Make sure you like the video. Okay, I think it's reconnecting the Wi-Fi. Let me see. It's just everything that we was talking about. So yeah, if you have any questions, I guess I'll start now. Someone asked what was help your program take off. What has helped your program take off? Really, just us being educated, and knowing that we were like for our business, we're marketing strategists. With that comes with email marketing, video marketing, just writing in itself. So marketing, just understanding marketing and understanding just working with big businesses and see what they do, and then we put it with everything that we do. We help people with the big businesses that we worked under to help them grow. We just put it we just copy everything that we do for the big businesses, and we see it, and then we just move it to the small businesses so they can just grow. So it's not a hard thing to do, especially if you got the education, if you got the knowledge and the understanding to do that. It's not it's not hard to do. Nothing is hard. It might be challenging, but you can get over it. So yeah. But yeah, I think that's it, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for liking the video, your comments and everything. We appreciate all the support. Let's see. Thursday, we're starting a new thing. So if you're in Africa, if you've been in Africa, we really want people that's been in Africa for a while now, to do this, to share their testimony, because we have plenty of testimonies here on how the Most High always looked out for us, how He brought us through things here in Africa. So if you have a testimony that you would like to share and that could encourage people to understand Africa is not bad, no matter what situation that you're in, no matter what kind of money that you have. We heard people with $0, and then the next day they have plenty of money to survive the for next couple months. So we want people to come on Thursdays to share their testimony, to encourage the people that need that, because our people, they sometimes need to hear a similar situation that they might be facing, and that might help them come together, um and just know, hey, Africa's not bad. This person did it, so I can trust the Most High more with that now too. So I don't know. So if you have any testimonies, check that out. We're gonna do our first session this Thursday, but we're gonna do it every Thursday, to encourage our nations, to encourage our community. So yeah, you have anything to say?
Nope, that's it.
That's it. So yeah, guys, thanks for tuning in. Gianna, she woke up.
It's okay, baby.
So you good, G? You want to say something? Yeah. But yeah, guys, thanks for tuning in. We appreciate all the support. Make sure you email us, with any questions. Yeah,
Look at
check
that.
the
Can I
links
have a
in the
piece of that
description.
cookie?
So we appreciate it. Shalom, guys. Peace. Always seek peace.
Shalom, shalom.
Shalom.